If you've ever been exposed to the theory by Jeffrey Moore called Crossing the Chasm, our guest today is the epitome of an early market tech enthusiast. He's an awesome human, the Xeros 2023 MVP award winner. Welcome, Graham Shapiro from My Accountant.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Great to have you here. I've been actually waiting for this discussion for such a long time. I'm super excited to get into it.
We've had it a few times, on the road here.
a couple private phone calls.
Yeah.
Let's make it public. Before we kick off and get into the title question, which is really to get your view on the role of technology in shifting businesses from surviving to thriving, I have a question for you first is, how did you become a tech enthusiast? What's the history that got you so mad about tech?
It was completely by mistake. So I sort of left the world of employment, about 10 years ago, 9.5 years ago.
Okay.
And the obvious thing that I thought I was going to go do is I was going to go do, financial consulting, for small businesses. That was what I was going to, do. I wanted to do my own thing. One of my clients was using Xero at that point in time. So I had to learn it so I could actually, assist them.
Yeah.
As I started to sort of delve into Xero, I then, went down the rabbit hole of seeing all the tech that's involved. You think bookkeeping. You think bookkeeping and accounting, how much tech can possibly be involved? So, and at that stage, I hated still hate bookkeeping. I despise bookkeeping.
Okay. Luckily, they're automating the debits and credits.
So that's it. That was exactly it. So I never wanted to do that. I never wanted to do the accounting as a service.
Okay.
I always wanted to, try to do the clever stuff.
Okay.
And then once you started finding all these automated tools that made the whole bookkeeping and just basic function, easier, I completely changed, sort of started to develop a business offering, accounting services. Then, you're not so busy in the early days.
Yeah.
And so you start to explore, Xero have got an app store. I think there's over 700-800 apps on there right now.
Yeah.
You start to check out, I still check it at least once every 2 weeks. I want to see what's new. I want to play around. It's my go-to procrastination thing. When I've got really boring stuff to do, I'm like, okay, let me go check the app store. Let me go see what's there.
Okay.
And what landed up happening, I mean, if I just look at what we use between our clients and ourselves, we use at least day to day over 10 apps,
okay.
Just in our own business. So it really, once you start to see what it can do and what it can do for you and what it can do for your clients, whenever I'm looking at these apps, I'm always thinking about my own business, how I can make that more efficient. And I'm always thinking, is this something that I could apply to a client? So, and it's, they're all really nice. A lot of them are shiny. A lot of them, so you start to look at them, and it just grew my love for it. Like I love it.
Yeah, and I can hear your passion. And I think my intro is actually spot on. Like, you are the epitome of that tech enthusiast, because a lot of people are actually quite scared about tech, and I think very few people would say that, like, on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, they're going to look in the App Store for what's new. So obviously a massive passion for you. So if for you it's a procrastinator, it's a brilliant passion to have. And I think if I speak for the Xero community, or rather, let me not speak on the Xero community, just the people around you and involved in your space can definitely feel your passion for tech easily. So, okay, let's go to the title question. What do you think the role is for tech in shifting business from surviving to thriving?
So there's definitely two sides to it. There's, number one is when you're starting out, unless almost the worst thing that you can get is a whole ton of money,
right,
to start out.
Okay.
Because what ends up happening is you employ people.
Sure.
So you go, I need this person for this person for that, this person for that. And you go and you employ a whole workforce when you might not necessarily need it.
Okay.
So one of the things that really plays a role is where you start to see, I need to do a certain function. I need to do these certain jobs and things, just in my own, just to run my own business. and I need to be doing it efficiently in an automated way because I actually can't afford a person, and maybe I actually don't need a person. So just from the outset, just in running your own sort of day-to-day business life, it really makes things more efficient. And just take a simple thing like a task system. I need to do this, I need to do it by this date, I need it to remind me, instead of having your piece of paper which you lose and you update on a daily basis. What are my tasks for today? Yeah, exactly. What are my tasks today? This and this. Okay, then the next day I only crossed off one. Okay, let me write it out again. This time I'll reorder it in terms of priority.
Sure.
And then on the other side, every business either sells a product or does a service. Everything, you're delivering something to someone.
Yes.
And I was actually thinking about it on the drive here. Is the more efficiently you can deliver a service or a product to someone, the more they're going to buy it. The more they're going to buy it, they're more likely to buy it. I was thinking of a simple thing, two simple things. When you used to go to a movie, you wanted a book, you had to phone and book.
Yeah.
And then it became a problem. You're like, there's 4 of you. Okay, I've got to phone and book 4 tickets. Everyone's got to bring cash. Everyone's got to go draw cash. Everyone's got to, now you go to a movie, it's online. You've bought your popcorn and everything. You just print out your thing and you go give it in.
Yeah.
Also, ordering online, I would sometimes not order takeaways because I didn't feel like making the phone call.
I agree with you 1,000,000%. I don't like to book a table because I don't feel like phoning the restaurant.
Exactly. So I'm saying it could be the difference between if there's like a pizza place, take for example, there's one, it's average, and the other one's really good, but the other one, I have to phone them and go pick up the pizza.
Yeah.
I'm going to use the other one.
Yes, you're going to go with the efficient, easy.
Exactly. So I'm saying especially in today's age, is the age of instant gratification, is the age of, sort of everything needs to be easy. Everything needs to be, the least amount of intervention by a consumer. So in just delivering a service and a product, to make the experience for anyone who's using your services or buying your products, to make that as efficient as possible, that becomes extremely important and can be the difference between even selling a slightly deficient product a slightly less quality product over a quality product.
Okay. I resonate with that a lot because I can tell you that from a tech perspective, while we strive to provide those types of services to everybody, we sometimes need to just remember what's actually efficient for the client.
Yeah.
The funny part is in tech, I call it over-teching. Sometimes in tech, actually the less intelligent tech is the better option for the customer because it's less overwhelming.
Exactly.
It's just easier to use. So
that often happens when if I would demo a system, if I can't figure out how to use it very basically within about 5 or 10 minutes,
you've lost.
They've lost me.
Yeah.
I'm not interested. They'll phone me. Can we do a demo? I'm like, no. Like I don't have time to invest my mind and my time in trying to figure out how this works. So that's again, it's all the user experience. It's got to be easy to use.
So I want to follow on with that, and I'm glad you've said what you've said because I've got a specific question for you, and it's the cloud accounting. Just call it the era of the cloud accountant. In my opinion, it's into full swing or very close to it.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think that the cloud accountant role is in actually getting that tech out there, using that tech? What do you think their role is? Do you think it sits with the tech to market, or do you think that the cloud accountant being that pivotal role actually has a distribution part of this play?
Well, I think the thing is you've got from a tech point of view it's never happened that a client has come to me and said, I want to use this piece of tech. Do you know how to use it, and do you know how to implement it?
Okay.
It's always come from me. they've said they want us to do something, and I've said I've got a piece of tech to do that. You know,
Okay.
as an example, recently we've got a client, they want us to take over doing their payments.
Yes.
So I said, okay, there's two pieces
Actually executing the payment.
of making their payments for them.
Okay.
Said there's two pieces of tech that we're going to implement
Yeah.
to do it,
Okay.
so that we don't actually need to go into your bank account to make your payments. So it's really the responsibility of maybe an accountant to shift to sort of their mind into an accountant / advisor.
Yes.
So it's almost they come to you with a problem and you come with a solution. And the solution is always the best when it's in tech.
Okay.
When it's when it's automated, and because the thing again, it comes it definitely comes into play. Coming to the first question, they are not so interested in how long something takes you or how you get there, but it's in your interest when providing a service. You are sort of bound by time, even though you might not necessarily charge time. You're bound by time.
Yes.
So it definitely benefits an accountant to deliver a service in the most efficient way possible, which isn't possible without tech.
Okay. So sort of like saying it's not so much the distribution, it's more that the cloud accountant's role should be to go get that knowledge of what's there so that they can then offer it in turn to give the most efficient solution.
Exactly. And ultimately you look at yourself as, okay, we're accountant. If you sort of break it down here, accounting is solving a problem.
Right.
So somebody will come to you, they say, I've got this business, I need my VAT done, I need my payroll done, I need this done, I need that done. And you go, okay, I've got the solution. It just happens that it's using cloud accounting tech and it's using this piece of tech and it's this. But ultimately, I'm solving your problem. I've solved your tax compliance problem. What's the next problem I can solve? Reporting, cash flow, everything like that. I'm going to solve your problems.
Yes.
But I'm going to use it with tech. They don't care how
you do it.
How you do it. They care that you do it and in an accurate and efficient way.
Okay.
So yeah. Coming back to that is it's really when you look at, say, I said accountant / advisor, but you're really there to solve your client's problems.
Yes. Now, the fascinating part is that particular advisory discussion I've had with quite a few people, not so much a public setting, but a couple private ones. It seems like, and definitely in the bigger players in the cloud accounting space, guys are following the tech journey to create sort of their own tech stack that they then make available to their customers to make their customers' lives more efficient. Do you think that a prescribed tech stack is kind of a good route to go? I've spoken to people that have said things like, in order to work with us, you must use this tech. What do you think?
So one of the things, there's three things that we uncompromising on. One is Xero.
Okay.
So we will not work with anyone who won't use Xero because it doesn't fit into our whole efficient way of working.
Okay.
We become inefficient. So where I think is it's definitely useful to have a set tech stack that you sort of revert to. We've got standard pieces of tech that we go to for certain problems.
Yes.
What happens are we've got two different reporting tools that we use, mainly because the one caters to a more customized solution, where the other one's a little bit less customized.
Okay.
So it's definitely value in having a proper tech stack, and I suppose the reason is you become experts in that.
Yes.
So you understand the flow, you understand how everything goes from one to another, and how you can offer a full solution. But then it might come so what I often do is somebody will come and say, I need to solve this problem.
Okay.
And I'll go, I can't do that. But I've got
Okay.
a partner, I partnered with app people who can help you with that.
Okay. Okay.
So
you're quite comfortable to say, like, if it's outside of where you're comfortable to pass it on.
yeah, I've made that mistake before, is where you go, okay, I think I can do this.
Okay. I think I can.
I think I can.
Okay.
I don't want to turn down business. And it's also, the account, especially in the sort of Xero community, I wouldn't say there's no competition, but people are happy to assist.
Yeah.
So I'm saying I could go reach out to people who are app experts, accounting firms who are app experts in a certain app, and they'll do the implementation, and they won't try and steal the client from me.
Yes.
So there's that sort of understanding that, it can benefit everyone, and that community view sort of extends your tech stack,
Yes.
so to speak.
Okay. Now, I agree with that. It's interesting what you said there, because one of the things about owning the client and owning that full journey is something that I'm quite fascinated by. In today's day and age, and without going too far off topic, but in today's day and age, because of all the partnering capability and the collaboration, where does it become a shared client? Where does it become my client? Where's that line? And one of the questions that I've got for you is, most tech out there, ourselves included, look at partnering with cloud accountants and with other businesses to say, you've got a client, we've got a mutual goal here, we want to make their lives easier. Can we introduce our tech into the mix if there's a need? And it becomes an interesting question, because I can't give you my database to say, okay, cool, yeah, go offer it to them. Many laws inside of it, but also it's my database. Where does it become that boundary to, it's my client, I just want you to help with this?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I think what you'll find is, and it comes to knowing the people you're partnering with.
Okay.
So I won't. Again, I made another mistake. I partnered with people who I didn't know, and they actually stuffed things up.
Okay. So it's reputational risk. It
is reputational risk, because I referred them.
Yes.
That client's long gone.
Yeah.
But ultimately is, once you get to know people, you speak to them, you see them at certain events.
Yeah.
Like there's certain guys I'll reach out to if I've just got a question, and they're happy to answer. They don't expect anything in return. They're just happy to sort of offer advice. So it depends who you partner with. If you're partnering with people you know and you get along with, then it very much becomes, okay, we offer this service. We, as people I work with, who I've sent them a few clients, but simply to do an app implementation. Okay. And then what they'll do is they manage the support and the training. So whenever they've got a problem with that app, right, they'll go to them, they'll go to their support people.
Okay.
But, the rest of it is us.
Okay.
And they're not going to try sell other services to them unless it's specifically around that app.
Okay.
So there is a respect, and again, it's you've got to get to, before you partner with someone, you've got to get to know them, you've got to be comfortable with them, and there's the unwritten rule,
yes.
that you all respect and you all follow.
Okay, and then I've got to. So again, luckily for me, the questions I had pre-planned are kind of flowing here. I want to ask you a question around new tech, and I'm saying new tech in inverted commas here, because you'll have clients that have never heard of Xero. And Xero is a massive company worldwide. It's listed. People go, I've never heard of it, or I've never heard of QuickBooks or Sage or whatever software is out there. What's that hurdle like for you? So you'll have people who genuinely have just never heard of tech, and to them it's new, even though it's tried and tested. But then you've actually got real new tech. What's the hurdle like, and how do you overcome it with your client?
So that was where we were at 5-6 years ago,
okay,
when people hadn't heard of Xero yet. Now everyone's heard of it. I haven't for a while asked someone if they've heard about Xero, and they've said no. They've said, oh yeah, we don't really like it. Okay. But what ultimately happened, so what we were doing in the early days is we really had to sell Xero, and we had to really sell it to them in a way that it made it attractive, and it made them understand that it's not just a system that we use and that's why we want you to use it, but it's actually going to benefit you, and it's easier for you to use than the current systems you are currently using, and this is why. Yeah. So you really have to know it. So whenever we introduce a new piece of tech, so it comes with other pieces that people have never heard of.
Yes.
You have to. All the pieces of tech are used by reputable businesses now. Of people who took a while to get them on board.
Yeah.
But once you've got them on board, you understand how it's actually made their lives easier, and you use that to sort of sell it to them. So you've got to know what you're talking about. You've got to understand the functionality, and not only how it makes your life easier, but how it's going to benefit them also.
Yes.
And why it's better to use this piece of tech as opposed to maybe a manual process. So again, going back to the early days of Xero, you really had to sell Xero. You had to sell the whole package, you know. So, I mean, one of the things I sort of anticipated might happen, you know, with using Xero, which is actually one of these pieces of tech has now come into play in the last year or two. So you had to take a bit of a chance and assume where the tech was going also. But yeah, it was hard, especially when people are used to pastel. You know, no offense to them, but I'm saying it's a great system. We just happen to prefer Xero for various reasons, but you have to really sell it to them. I even had someone the other day. I was sitting with a meeting with all these finance managers. She goes, "Geez, I miss pastel. I miss it so much." And we're
different. But so, do you think that? So, in terms of that hurdle, I have two questions for you. When Xero definitely changed the landscape in this tech play, obviously talking specifically to the accounting world. When Xero came and the guys who brought it here, they're wonderful people, but what magic dust did they sprinkle to get somebody so enthused to want to sell on their product in this space? I mean, as a tech provider, just to get through the door, to get somebody to look is a lot of work.
Yeah.
But now, what's that magic dust that makes you go like, no, guys, you've got to see this thing. It's unbelievable. It's going to change your life.
Well, first of all, you've been to one of the Xero roadshows, right? Does it look like an accounting event?
It's accountants, right? It's 1,000 accountants getting together.
And it does not look like an accounting event.
Yeah.
I think what they did was where they sort of changed the game, and this is where Xero and Sage differed. With Sage and Pastel, you had resellers. And they would go sell it to businesses and to accountants. What Xero came in is you signed up for Xero, you had an account manager as an accountant. So they came and said, okay, you're an accountant, we are here for you. We are going to be on your team. We're going to help you, through your whole Xero journey. We're going to help you with your whole, a plan, what apps you're going to use. We're going to teach you what apps to use. We're going to teach you how to be a more efficient accountant. We're going to give you all this knowledge, and we're going to help you on the journey. At each step of the way, if I've got
we're going to help you build your business.
We're going to,
Okay.
Yeah. And ultimately that I think that was something different because you just had to get one accountant to agree, and that's a whole sales funnel for them.
Yes.
When you talk about magic dust, I think it was that whole thing that we're going to support you and be with you in this journey. We're not just going to sell you this and then walk away and then figure it out yourself. So I'm saying they're always having these product updates. They've got a blog all the time. They're always introducing new updates to their software. They've got the app store.
Yeah.
I've got my account manager, if I've got questions or anything about certain apps, there's specific Xero apps. There's more, if I've got questions of them, they'll jump on a call, they'll show me around, they'll help me out.
And is it because it's you? Like I'm saying,
because I'm an accounting partner. I'm a Xero partner. Sorry.
Okay.
Because I'm a Xero partner. So they'll support me they'll support me in anything that I need that they can assist with.
Okay.
And if something new comes on that they think I might like, they'll call me, they'll tell me about it. So it's that you're not really it's not you and the software. So the software, even though the software is software, it's not human. There's humans behind it, which are there actually to help you and support you.
Yes. And that's actually something quite interesting. We've had it a few times where people have asked for help or trying to navigate something, and they can't believe how quickly they get a response. They go, I didn't know there were people behind this thing.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting when you humanize the technology. So, to provide that useful support and get people through a journey. Now, I want to go back to the shifting businesses question, but I've got one more for you. Because I know you're quite passionate about this, and I think people would be interested on your point of view. in today's market, there's quite a few, call it layers of where we're at with tech. You've got guys that are old school, still writing things down and running business on a piece of paper, exactly like you said, like crossing things out, making the list tomorrow. But I'm talking all the way down to their accounts receivable as like a notebook in their pocket. Then you've got guys that are much more advanced, but still not cloud-based. They're running their businesses very successfully, local servers, whatever it is that they're doing, but they need to take that next step into a cloud environment. And then you've got newer entrants that have started business in the cloud era. What do you think the position is for those that are hesitant for maybe many reasons? It's not they tech averse, it might just be too complicated in their business to try get everything together into a more tech cloud-based environment. But what do you think the future looks like for businesses that don't make a move?
So it would be wrong to say that they'll go out of business.
Yeah.
Because they have years and years of experience.
Yeah.
So they have so much knowledge, coming around tax, complex, sort of complex transactions. They have very solid relationships. They could possibly have been an accountant for a business for 20, 30 years. So they've got very strong relationships with these people. The only sort of risk to them is when the client, the second generation takes over that business and they go, we're not using desktop anymore.
Okay.
We going to cloud because there's this system, there's that system, there's this system. Can you come with us? And they'll go, you know what, we'll stay on maybe as advisory, as your auditors, but we can't do that. And I think a lot of the sort of barriers for the older, more established businesses is really, I wouldn't say a fear of tech, but it's this is working, we're doing just fine. Let's not go change everything around. Let's just keep things the way that they are. I'm exiting this business in the next 5 years anyway.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, especially before I leave.
Yeah. Although what you do see, I'm saying what you're starting to also see is, and there are there's a couple of Xero partners. The practices are over 100 years old.
Right.
And they're starting to make that move into Xero.
Okay.
But they're doing it slowly. Like it's like almost a brand. They've started a brand. This is Xero, and it's not easy to move 1,500 clients.
No, it's the opposite of easy.
Exactly. So that's a one side. The other side is there is, for maybe not the guys who are older, there is a fear. There's a bit of I would often speak to accountants who were very anti-Xero. And they would tell me all the problems with it, which were not really problems, but it's just sort of maybe a fear for adopting tech.
What do you think some of those fears were?
So one of them was so Xero, you've obviously seen Xero, it looks very simple.
Yes.
The back end is extremely advanced.
Sure.
It's an extremely, extremely advanced accounting system. They would look at it and they go, no, how do I even do a journal? And you go, okay, you go there's a journal. How do I even do this? And it's, okay. It connects to your bank, but it's not safe. It connects to your bank. People can hack into your bank. They can't. And it's also, well, we don't want our clients, we've got our server. It's protected here. We know it's protected. It's locked.
I can see it.
Fireproof. I can see it now. It's in the cloud. Where is it? Who's holding all this data? Who's holding all the information? So there's a fear, and it's mainly due to sort of lack of knowledge. I mean, Xero's hosted on AWS. I mean, you don't get more secure than that.
Yeah.
So the longest I've seen Xero go down for, I think, was about 20 minutes.
Okay.
There's also So I'm saying. There's those sort of fears which just make people nervous that they sort of believe their fears, and then they don't want to move on, and then they don't, and then they lose one client to cloud. And it's not necessarily only Xero. It's just people want to be on the cloud because the nice thing about cloud is there's total transparency. the sort of old school way of accounting is send me your bank statements at the end of the month and we'll process it and this is your VAT.
Yes.
And then the guy looks at his management accounts and goes, but I keep my own Excel set of management
looks
accounts.
like it's out.
Look completely different to this.
Yeah.
The guy, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
This is how we do it. So, once you're in cloud, you've got everyone's got access.
Yes.
And there's transparency. Everyone's working on the exact same system. And it might just be that they also have to change the whole way that they work.
Okay.
This is how we've been working up to now. We don't want to change it. We've got all our staff, everything works. Well, again, going back to that thing, everything works. And again, we just, don't want to move into that space.
Okay. One of the things for me actually was quite specific to that was access to information at all times. I recently had to chat to somebody about payroll and I needed a bunch of information and it took a week to get the information because they weren't cloud-based. They weren't on I call it a modern day payroll system.
Yeah.
It took forever. And eventually I was like, oh, are you serious? This is just a piece of information. Just log in and get it.
What we've started to do is we've got a reporting system. So which connects to Xero. It syncs every day, but you can sync it whenever you want. And our clients have access to Xero. They have access to that. If they want to go look at a certain report, they navigate around there and they've got all the information. It's so it really is a lot of information that you can access anytime, anywhere.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big advantage. And that's, I think, the side that people don't see it. They don't see the customer demand. What are our clients, what do they want from us? Yeah. We don't want them to actually keep their own separate Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah, why have to bother with that?
Yeah, when we've got it all here.
Yeah, okay, I fully get it, and I have experienced it actually as well quite a few times. So, one more question, just on the tech side before I get back to the main question. I want to ask your thoughts on what tech can do better. So, I'm going to try and move your mind from the Xero frame of mind.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you let's think about the App Store. So the tech in the App Store. What could those tech providers do better? So they're excellent at their tech. I would imagine that most tech providers at what they do are very good. But what could the apps that are connecting to the main ecosystems do better? Would it be gathering people together? Would it be more webinar-based stuff? But it sort of becomes noise. And what do you think that tech could do to avoid becoming noise but still adding more value to the people that they want to use their tech?
So I suppose there's two things. One would be making it clear what problem you're solving.
Okay.
And how you and why and proof that it works.
Okay. What would solve that proof? Because a demo is a demo, right?
No, you stats.
Stats. Okay.
It's hard for a startup. It's hard for a startup to produce stats, but you've almost got to say this is how our tech can improve either your world or your client's world. And this is what we've actually done. So a lot of them have case studies which no one reads.
Yeah. They're very nice pictures on a website.
You just need to, and then the next thing is proper onboarding.
Yes.
So once they've made the sale, you've got to onboard. And it's got to be quick and efficient. It's got to be okay. And it's a responsibility of the person taking on the tech also. It's got to be sort of the point is, okay, I've now made the decision. I'm going to use this piece of tech.
Yes.
Now it's got to be a partnership
to get it going.
Okay. And I had a very good experience with one piece of tech in the onboarding. I think I might have mentioned this to you, but we had bi-weekly meetings. They had something they had to produce for the meeting.
Yes.
I had something I had to produce for the meeting.
Yes.
And we were both accountable to make sure that we were ready to go in each meeting and then make the plan for the next meeting, what needed to be done over the next 2 weeks. And there was also a very big emphasis to get me using it as quickly as possible.
Sure.
Because the worst thing that can happen is somebody signs up and then they just never use it. So they just realize, I'm not actually using this.
It's the worst thing that can happen.
I've lost interest and I'm cancelling the subscription.
Yeah, they haven't found. So if you're a fan of HubSpot and what they do, Mark Roberge, he calls it product market fit. Yeah. So you want your client to be on your tech and adopting it as quickly as you can, so they get what it is they wanted from it, and product market fit.
Yeah.
Now, that thing that you've actually just encapsulated is the biggest problem, I would say, for most tech providers, is getting somebody through that process onto the system, understanding it and going. You even alluded to it earlier in this discussion, was if you can't use it within 5 or 10 minutes, you're out.
Yeah.
So
it's really big on the UI.
Massive. UI, UX.
UI, UX, yeah. All the fancy acronyms.
Exactly. So, okay, so back to surviving and then ultimately thriving, in kind of to wrap this up. I just wanted to get your viewpoints on your experience with business. What does it look like to you when a business is just surviving? And what's the sort of telltale signs to say, okay, now they're thriving?
I often look at we deal mainly in owner-managed businesses. I often look at them.
Okay.
And
the people.
Okay. And say, are you under pressure? Are you under stress? Or are you able to always go away? Do you have a lot of spare time? That for me is the biggest telltale sign, is really the owner, how hard he has to work.
Okay.
And that's that I find is a great barometer, because some people work hard because they want to. That's fine, but then they're not under pressure.
Yes.
And they're not under stress. But when you're under stress and under pressure, it means you have to work hard because you haven't got things, you're not quite there. And you have to work so hard just to survive.
Okay. That's a fantastic answer. I love that. and on that one, Grant, I just want to say thanks so much. I really appreciate you being on the show. I hope that everybody out there watching and listening enjoyed it. And we look forward to having you back with us.
Great. Thank you so much for having me.